And here we are.
Hello. Good evening. And we're
Good
back.
evening. Yes.
We were talking pre-show, so it's kind of weird for us to go away, come back and say hi.
But it is kind of, it's like, are we still there when the screen comes back?
Do we have fade in yet? Have we made contact?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Margo, you want to start with the introductions
the
of the show?
absolutely. A little housekeeping. Hi, my name is Margot, and this is Iris at the other end, and this is Mary, our guest for the evening. Dr. Mary
Hello.
Timothy.
Mhm.
And this show is The Eyes of Indigo. And we do a little housekeeping for a minute or two while people have a chance to sign on. And people come in through Facebook and through YouTube. And if we are live, and we encourage our guests to participate, ask questions, make comments. Please do so in the comment section or in the chat section, depending on which platform you're using. And during the show, since the two platforms, YouTube and Facebook, can't see each other's comments and chats, we repeat them out loud and sometimes run them across the screen. Because we have a third thing in here is later on, this becomes an audio recording. So for our listening audience from the future, hello 2023. 24,
Yeah.
21, 21. And so that they can understand what was on the screen. Iris does a great job of narrating as much as possible on visuals for us. So tonight's Eyes of Indigo, Iris, I'm thinking about the bluebird picture that you usually set up about what Eyes of Indigo is.
Wrong one. Wait a minute.
And it's our little crazy weird bird.
Yes, discussing weird stuff in a rational way.
Yes, our motto. That's the word I'll stuck for.
That's it. Yeah.
Mercury is definitely in retrograde. Holy cow! Speaking English is a challenge. Did drum circle 2 days ago, and I kept stopping. And after a while, people kept looking at me, and I said, "Guys, speaking English is not easy at this time in life, at this time on the planet." And I got a bunch of people going like this in the drum circle on the beach. So, yep, I know you guys understand.
Yeah, it's like, well, just read my mind. We could just sit here and
just telepathically yell at each other.
Yeah, make faces and laugh
and I do believe Iris and I would hear you, but maybe not everybody else. Mary would probably tune in too. So, but tonight's subject is Mary and Tarot. Iris, take it away.
Yeah, Mary Wells Timothy. And Margo, you may know more about her background than I do, or we can let Mary talk a little bit about herself. But I know she is Dr. Mary Wells Timothy, and you've been involved with in the world of academia, and then but also in the world of woo woo.
Which is the best world.
Yes, it is. Very much so. I'm working in academia now myself, and it's like sometimes I'm going, is this really? Do they ever meet? And it's like, yeah, it gets all mixed up, and I feel like it's everybody else's problem, not mine. If they don't get the connections,
That's right.
Yeah, and so anyway, you just have fun with it and go with it. But we are so glad to have you here, and you are also a known reader of the tarot or tarot. We were talking about that earlier about the different pronunciations, and you were saying it's all good. Whatever, tarot, and then we can get into the German and the Spanish that use
tarot.
Yeah,
like
carrot, but tarot.
Tarot and Margot and all those. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So So that's good because I was like, am I behind on not saying it correctly, or is it just because you do what you grow up with? And we encourage our audience, please at least say hello and let us know that you're here.
Like
Hello,
V
V. It's
did.
good to see you. Yeah, yeah.
Isn't she
So we
pretty?
like to know you're out there. We can't always tell. We definitely can't tell who's out there, and we can't always see the full numbers of people that are out there. So it's good to see a hello from people. So
Say
yeah,
hi, say hello, type namaste, tell us your favorite food, what's your
you can
dog's name.
you can
We're,
pretend you're a who. I am here. I
we're here, we're here.
am here.
You're Horton's
um.
who? Yes.
Yes, and we let's see. Oh, got Elsa there.
Elsa came
Hello.
in. Namaste.
I should
Pretty
let you know,
apples.
I don't see any.
You don't.
No, so you'll have to read to me when people make
Okay.
comments.
Absolutely. People are putting hi, namaste, hiya, and
Mhm.
pizza. And their little faces are showing up as well. Go, Sherry. I'm with you on that one too.
Yeah. So
And
good.
Aldous says hi there. Thank you guys. Yay.
Yay!
So right now that's we got 5 people that have signed in.
And
I
as we
understand.
go along, if you have questions, do ask them, please. And we'll field them to Mary as they come in. So that's good.
I did Mary saw this last week. I did a presentation locally and a lady said that normally very shy, very retiring. Hi, Edie. Um, it came up and blushing, and she said, "Can I ask you a favor? And will you take a selfie with me?" And I was like, sure." And she said, "The reason why is because I have a friend that came to me and told me how excited she was to find this Eyes of Indigo show, and she was telling me all about it." And I want to surprise her with a selfie of me with you. And I went,
Oh,
yes.
Oh
And I went, in the
yeah! You
picture.
have reached a new level, Marga. That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, that is so cute. That is so cool. And she said, my friend says that she watches, but she doesn't type or say anything when y'all ask her to because she wants to be private. She doesn't want to, she doesn't. And we're like, completely understand. So, Mary,
I'm
there
not
are
gonna let
people
anybody know I
watching.
watched that woo woo show.
Yeah.
Y'all say some
I
crazy
watch
shit,
them cuss and
but I'm
fuzzies
not gonna
talking
tell anybody.
all week long. Talking about shit, make my grandma turn in her grave. Telling you. So, so yes, for all of you that want to preserve your privacy, and
Your
Chris
closet
Gordon,
watchers.
we know who you are, and we appreciate it when you approach us in public as well. That's fine. So, so Ashley has come on board too. Yay!
Yes. Oh, sorry, did I miss hers? I didn't.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we're going to go forward with letting Mary do the presentation that we asked her for. But
Yes.
while she's doing that, in the comments, if you could, I'm going to ask people, if you feel like it, those that have checked in or haven't checked in, it doesn't matter. If you could tell us yes or no if you've ever dabbled with tarot cards or oracle cards yourself. Have you ever given it a shot? Tried a little reading so that we can see what kind of awareness level the audience has so we can speak to it that way. Mary's access doesn't let her see comments, but trust me, we will read them to her. So if you have a comment for Mary or a question for Mary, she will get it right away during the show. During the show. And if you you can ask her anything. But let's start with questions about Mary. So, Iris, you made a good comment. I could go on and tell you what I understand about Mary and where she's been. And Ashley says, "Yep, I'm all hands in the woo woo," with laughing faces. And V says, "Yes, she's messed with cards too." So 2 people have admitted it in public anyway. So Mary, I know a lot, small talk and big talk and long talk. I know a lot about your background, and if I talked about you, it would take 2 or 3 hours. So I'm going to ask you to synopsize your credentials that lead you to here.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. By the way,
Mhm.
Lord, we never said thank you, Iris.
Oh,
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Mary, thank you.
and Alda says yes, and Edie says a little.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
so
right.
just kind of
Some
getting a tally as we go.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, Mary, sorry, back to you.
I'm not sure where I should start. I can do my basic background is I'm in education or was in education. I'm retired, and I have my doctorate in reading. I'm a reading specialist, and I did that for many, many years. And now I'm retired and enjoying the fun life.
Yay.
I've been doing tarot cards since ninth grade, which is 1967. 1966, 1967, when I became a hippie. And,
Yeah.
and that's when I got
Officially.
into the fun things in life because I expanded my horizons. And so I did all kinds of things that I could do. I tried palm reading, but that was really not my calling. I tried some other things, but I found the cards were the best thing for me. I was very comfortable with them. They felt very well in my hands. They talked to me. And so that's how I got started in reading tarot, and I've been reading them ever since.
So,
And
did your family encourage this kind of thing, or did you sneak off with one or two of your sisters and
oh no,
practice?
the whole family participated. My mom
Oh,
and my
cool.
dad would ask questions. I think they were humoring me, but they would ask them anyway. And then all my brothers and I've had 7 brothers and sisters, and so I would do readings for them. I had one reading with my sister Patty, and I was reading her cards, and I looked at her and I said, "You're pregnant." And she goes, "No, I'm not." I said, "Oh, yes, you are." And about 3 weeks later, she goes, "Yeah, I'm pregnant." Because they came
Oh,
out in the cards, came
yeah.
out and said it. And so, and she was like, "God, these are real. These are real."
You bet your
And
sweet Biddy.
yes, and another reading I had was for myself. I had a friend who was from Thailand, and he was undocumented. This is back in '68. He was undocumented and he got arrested and he's going to be deported. So I would ask the cards, "Will I ever see him again?" And the cards kept saying, "Yes, you're going to see him again." And I thought, he's getting ready to be deported. I'm never going to see him again. And something happened when they were moving him from one jail to another. He escaped, flew back to my house because he was in Washington, D.C., and I was in Iowa. Flew back, drove to my house just so he could say, "See you later, Mary. I'm going to miss you. I'm going back to Thailand." And then the police came and picked him up. And they were kind of knew that he was going. But the cards were right. And it was kind of like, because I was even questioning and thinking, well, how am I ever going to see him again? But I did. But it
Wow,
was
That's
what
very
affirmation.
accurate.
wonderful. That's a cool story. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So the
Okay,
cards are
so
very real, and readers, when you get informed with them, anything can happen. That's
cool. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Anything can come out when you let go of the outcome like
right.
that. Let go of that. Sherry says made a little paragraph for us about her journey. She said, "I've bought angel and goddess cards, no traditional tarot. I read the instructions on how to do a layout and then ignore them and just do whatever feels right."
You are on the right page.
Yes, ma'am, she is.
The
So
layouts they give you are examples to get started. But once you start knowing your cards, the cards will tell you what to do and how to do them. What layout, it doesn't really matter because you just want to read the cards. And I'm going to go through, talk about a couple of the different layouts because there's some I prefer and some I don't use at all anymore because they're a waste of time and they're tedious
for you, yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
and for the person I'm reading for, because they don't really care about certain aspects of a reading. For
sure.
example, like if I'm doing the Celtic reading, which is 10 cards,
Wow.
well, 3 of the cards deal with other people's point of view, your hopes, your fears.
No, no. Yeah, they want a more specific answer than that.
Right.
Right.
I mean, you don't care what the other people think about it. You already know your hopes and fears. You just want a reading. And so I've really learned what spreads work for me. And that's what you want to do as a beginner and learning how is what works for you. Because if it works for you, it's perfect. Can't go wrong.
Excellent. So you're talking about spreads are really good training wheels. And before the show, we were working with a very basic, simple 3-card layout. Can you talk about that a little more for us, please?
Well, before I get into that, I would like to talk
Okay.
about purchasing your cards and
Oh, yeah,
picking your cards,
that's true.
because that is going to help you. When you go to the stores, look at the cards. They're all different cards. And of course, back in my day, 50 years ago, you didn't have a lot of choices. You had your basic tarot cards, and that was it.
Rider
Now you
weight.
have a lot of choice. Weights.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of choice in cards now. So really go and look at your cards, feel them, touch them, look at the pictures. Do they talk to you? Do they not talk to you? I have like 5 or 6 different decks of different types of cards, and I only use 2 because they're the only 2 that really talk to me. And so then
Can you tell us which ones they are? Can you show them
I
the
like
cover?
and energy cards.
Energy Oracle card. Yeah.
Yes. And then your basic tarot cards.
The Rider Tarot. Yeah.
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 And so when you get your cards, you get them home. Everyone's touched them. You got to own them. So smudge them, lay them in, spread them out, put them in the sun for 24 hours in a window.
Brand new cards, right?
Brand new cards. Develop a mantra to speak over them. Ask your spirit guides, ask the divine angels to come and look at the cards, bless the cards for you. You can blow on them. When I'm doing readings for numerous people, I will blow on them between readings of people, not so much questions, so that it clears that person to the next person.
We're talking about real quick in between the show. I've seen people thump it,
click on them.
I've seen people brush on it like that as well. Blowing is, like you said, blowing is a very popular way to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And right, and then I don't let anyone touch.
I've seen people fan them too.
Yes,
I've seen crystal. Some people put crystal with them.
Right, whatever to make them yours, and they become you, and they become a part of you. That's why I don't let anyone else touch my cards, ever, because I don't want their energy into the cards. I want to read the cards for them. And so
Do you ever? So you don't let them pick a card or anything like?
They'll pick a card, but sometimes I used to let them shuffle the cards.
I've seen that.
I don't let them shuffle anymore. Now they have to tell me when to stop shuffling. I do let them, if it's a 1-card draw, they'll draw it. If it's a 3-card, I draw it for the spread. And because I want the energy from the cards to go to that person, I don't want their energy to influence the cards.
So stepping back just a little bit, when you were giving the people the great advice of, excuse me, my nose is tingling. It's going off and off and off. Yeah. Which is a good thing actually for the intention. It's just annoying for me. When you say pick up cards that feel good to you, that speak to you, can you describe a little bit more about what that feeling might be like?
Yes, they can be warm in your hand. You can also feel a slight vibration. Some of
Yeah.
the cards, you can look at the pictures and all of a sudden you have a smile on your face and you don't know why you have a smile on your face. There comes the energy from the cards coming into you. Listen to them. Sometimes they'll speak, not in words, of course, but
No,
you can
sometimes.
hear.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
So you listen to them, and also you want to know how they feel in the hand.
Hmm.
Can you shuffle them? Because
Without
some
dropping them? You mean
yeah,
shuffle
sometimes
without
the
them
cards
sliding
are so
apart?
big, and you're like, oh. So you want to make sure they feel good in your hand. And that's how
Manipulate them easily, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you pick out your cards and take them home and make ownership of them.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So shifting back to where we were, the 3-card draw.
The spread, you're right.
Yeah, tell us
Right.
more about what that represents and so
Right. Well,
on.
the easiest spread, well, if you're reading for yourself, do a 1 card for the day. And you ask the question, always ask your spirit guides, do a little mantra, ask the divine, ask help in reading for an accurate reading, ask them. Because your spirit guides will come and help. That's what
Yeah.
they're there for.
Yeah.
And so I'll always ask the question in the morning, what should I work on for today? And I pull 1 card.
Sure.
And that's going to tell me everything I need for the day, which is nice. So if you're in a hurry and you're doing it for yourself, or you're doing it for a best friend and you've been reading for them all the time, pull 1 card and it'll tell you. Now there's no question except what should I work on for today? What's the message for today? And then you work with that. And that's really nice. I like doing the 1 card. But now I'm going to have someone and they're going to come and say, well, I'd like a full reading. I like the 3-card spread because it's past, present, and future. And that's basically what the client wants to know. If you have some long ones, you get into what other people think about your question, what are some opportunities, what are some of these things that just give you information, but not to the point where it's answering your question. So I really like to focus on a smaller spread because it's going to focus more on your question and what you need to know. Where the other one, it's going to take more time, you're going to use more cards, but you're going to give a lot of wasted information. I mean, that's my point of view.
Sure.
Other people love the self-take because it gives you so much information.
It's thorough, but you're more interested in focus. Yeah.
Right. And I want to get just right down to the nitty-gritty and here's your answer. This is what you want and this is what you need. And I find the 3-card works the best. There's a 7-card that is a life, and you don't do it that often. And it reads out your life for the next 5 or 10 years. There's no question. It's just a basic reading. So I don't use it with many people because people want questions. That doesn't work. But if you wanted to sit down and do yourself or do a close friend, do their life reading, hey, that's great. It's fun. It's good practice.
Yeah.
But if I'm reading for a client, no, I'm not going to go into that one. It's a little more detailed and goes into, because you really want to get to the person's question. That's what they want answered. So I do the 3 spread, the past, present, and future.
So when you started learning tarot, like back in 9th grade and so on, how long before you started reading for the general public and not just close friends and family? Was it a few?
Then.
How long did you?
Then.
Okay, all right. So practice makes perfect.
Exactly.
Hands-on.
We'd go to a party, and it's all hippies, and they're all into that area and feeling very nice. And they'd go, "Oh, Mary, get your cards out. Let's do some reading." So I would read everyone in the room.
They would say, "Mary, get your cards out." So they already knew you were the one with the cards.
Yes.
In that group. Yeah.
And so we would spend hours reading everyone and listening to each other's, and it was fun. And so I started reading for other people right away. because I
Oh,
found that was how I learned the cards. Because when you're reading them for yourself,
there's a
I found
bias.
exactly. And so I'm kind of forcing the cards to read for me. That's why I only do the one card reading in the morning, because
Keep it simple.
keep it simple. And I'm
Yeah.
not asking a question, just what to work on. So it made it fun doing other people. So I've been doing other people for some from the beginning. And it's a good way to learn the cards. And
Cool.
and when I first started, I read the book like a textbook. You know, here's what the book says. Now, after 50 years, I don't follow what the book says. I follow what the card says.
Okay, so here's a more complex question
Right.
based on what you just said. If you're following what and the advice you're giving applies across the board. Reiki practices, same thing. Learn the basics and then follow your intuition.
Right.
Martial arts, learn the basics and then follow your intuition, and so on and so on. Let the moment, let the present tell you exactly what you need to know. So, my question is, there are terminologies we hear about tarot, such as major arcana, minor arcana. Can you please educate us on what some of these terms
Yes.
mean?
Yeah. Minor arcana. If you're thinking of a card deck of cards, they're your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to the king, queen. So those are your minor, and those are in your reading. They affect the reading, but they are broken down into areas of money, struggles, where health, riches, where the major cards are usually have a heavier meaning. They are represented very
Like the
strongly.
hangman, the
The
emperor.
hangman, right. And also I found very interesting is with the writer is really based on Christianity.
Yeah,
And so you'll find a lot of
Judeo-Christian stuff, right?
right, and it works into that area for some of the even the characters, the major arcana.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Mm-hmm.
play a strong role because they're very strong in what they do. They're not changing as much as your minor cards will change when you're doing a
Okay,
reading.
all right.
They don't vary as much.
So that affects the reading as well, to be
Right.
aware that that's the kind of energy those images support or those
Hmm.
cards support.
Right.
Iris, you found out what the word arcana means?
Yes, and now I have to look it up again. I'm glad you said that. ARKANA.
Whoops, I didn't cue you ahead of time that I was going to say it. Just popped the question popped in my head.
uh,
So,
yeah. So the arcana is secrets or mysteries. And according to dictionary. I mean, yet they identify that it's one of two parts of a tarot deck, but the definition in the free dictionary, a deep secret or a mystery, specialized knowledge or details unknown to or misunderstood by the average person.
does it tell you if it's
Huh.
Latin or Greek or Italian or
Let's see. It should
it
just a second.
sounds it sounds Italian, Latin, or
Um,
Hebrew, or even Hebrew even. Gosh knows, it could be that, which is Middle
hmm.
Eastern in
Hmm.
origin. I was just curious. I didn't mean to send you down a bigger rabbit hole. Whoops.
No, it's fine. It's got Arcanus was the Latin and
Mm,
arcane from the English.
ah,
So it's mid 16th century from Latin. And arcanum pluralized as arcana came from Latin, meaning secret, and entered the English as the Dark Ages gave way to the Renaissance. It was often used in reference to the mysteries of the physical and spiritual worlds,
which
subjects
tarot
of heavy
taps into.
scrutiny and rethinking at the time.
Yeah, that's what the cards do is they reveal the secrets.
Awesome. Are
Yeah.
either one of you familiar with the very popular tarot reader that she's a part of the Truthers movement? She's very popular, so much so she's been banned from almost all platforms. And it's funny because she's usually a very mild-mannered person, and she's also very altruistic and philanthropic as well. She lives in Canada. Her name and her show is called Tarot by Janine.
I've
Are
heard the
either one of you?
name.
All right,
Yeah,
Tarot by Janine. She's had to change the spelling of Janine a couple of times to get away from being censored. And she's the real deal. Hardcore, real deal, extremely ethical. And when she goes on to other truthers podcasts, and of course they ask, let's ask the cards. Is this happening? Is that happening? Is this a lie? Is this the truth? And it's fascinating. And the cards almost always say something similar to what I'm detecting myself, or what I've consistently heard elsewhere that have nothing to do with her. And I mean, she's about 60 years old, middle class, Canadian woman. And where I'm going with this is when she does a card pull for other readers, when they ask a single question, such as the last one that I remember that was like, whoa, that was cool. Somebody, they let their readership ask questions. And by the way, guys, we want you guys that are listening, start thinking of questions you want to ask Mary so she can do a card read for you, do a card pull or two. Ask open-ended questions, and we'll talk about that some more, and we'll use it for demonstration purposes too. But what I was circling back around to Tarot by Janine, she'll pull two cards. She'll pull one card and talk about this says blah, 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 blah. And the second card talks about a little bit of nuance, such as the first card says this happened in the past. The second card will tell you 6 months, 2 weeks, 2 years, centuries ago, if there's a time issue involved. So she uses that as a primary answer, and then the nuances on this comes from the second card. Or lots of times she'll pull two cards and see if they confirm each other in what direction. Yes, but. No, but. That's pretty much what's going to happen, except for there's more of this, or there's less of that than you think. And she does similar to what you're talking about, but she apparently does two cards. Yeah. And I was wondering if you had ever heard of that or seen that, because that's unusual.
I've seen the two card readings where they're showing the verification or the contrast to see what's opposing or what's working together. I have seen the two cards. I like
That
the
makes
two
more
cards
sense.
also. And I like
What's
that because it
opposing?
doesn't really deal with this is what happened in the past, this is the present, the future. It's more of here's your question, and this is what's going on now, or it builds up a little bit of the past, but it's really focusing on what's going to happen. And then the second card is, oh, well, not necessarily. You got these opposing, or yes, it's going to happen faster because of this.
Okay, all right.
Second card does.
So yeah,
Now I
this one.
find if I do it too, I prefer the energy cards versus the tarot cards, the tarot cards.
Why?
The energy cards give more of emotion, spiritual, thought-provoking type answers, where the other cards you kind of have to read more into them because there's so much going on in the pictures that you have to really stop and think what's going in and what are going, because there's so much layers that are on top of each other that you have to get through, even though you're working with two cards.
Oh, that's even more information.
Right, that you've got to pull out. So like I'll do a 3 spread with my tarot, but I may do 1 or 2 with my energy, because it gives the answers.
A little more straightforward.
Yes, straightforward, right, like in your face. Here it is.
Cool, very cool.
So it makes it easier for the person who's reading the cards It doesn't make it affect the person who's receiving the answers. It's the person that's doing the reading and how, and then interpreting the cards.
Okay.
That's what the difference
Okay.
is.
So people go ahead and post your questions whenever something comes to mind. We're happy to run through some examples and let Mary work a little of her arcana magic for you. And while we're waiting for that,
Oh, well, while we're waiting, can I just say, for the type of question you're going to read?
Yes. Yes,
if you
please.
Want beginners, as a beginner reader, never do yes or no questions because they're really hard. They're complicated. Yeah. After you've been reading for a few years, yes, you can do yes or no questions because you know what to look for in your cards. So you usually try to get them to do an open-ended question, and people are always stumped like, oh, I don't know an open-ended question. Ask them for the questions and work around it, and you can come up with an open-ended question with them. Also, as a reader, now since I've been reading for over 50 years, I don't even need the question. However, you have to tie the answer to your question if you don't want to ask me the question. If you're embarrassed for something.
Yeah, self-conscious about something.
Right. But then I can give you the answer, but you've got to tie it into the question yourself.
That's good piece of privacy. Ours sounded like,
yeah, I wanted to say, one thing when I've dabbled in readings and stuff is to remind people that, and I just wanted to get your reaction, is free will is still here, and the future's, just because this is where you're headed right now if you don't do anything.
Right.
If you stay the way you are, if you stay on the course you're at.
If you don't like it, make a change in your life.
Yeah. But it's also kind of contrasts what you said about like your friend from Taiwan who you thought, how am I going to see him again? And you got the definite yes, but you didn't see how that was going to happen. Of course, that wasn't up to you to change the outcome. That was, if he had stayed there, you wouldn't have seen him. But luckily
yeah. So Sherry has a question. Could you read that question for Mary?
Yeah. I'm wondering
for Sherry,
if I should focus more on building an online presence or on the sacred geometry work the sacred.
You said it right.
Okay. Or if they need to be fed and grow simultaneously. So you want me to read that again? I'm wondering if I should focus more on building an online presence or on the sacred geometry work, or if they need to be fed and grow simultaneously. And she also wants to thank you for the opportunity of asking questions.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a good question. I don't know a specific answer for that because I think whichever you choose to do will work.
What card are you using?
Right. That's another one. But I think what are you comfortable with doing first?
I'm saying, Mary, are you going to do a card pull to answer her question?
Oh, I will be glad to.
Yeah, you know what? You naturally went to your natural intuitive gifts and started listening to the Akashic record. And I was like, sweetie, throw in the demo so we can follow you.
Oh, I did the Oracle card. It's the door.
Ooh.
The door to value. And it's a card of success. It's a card saying everything is there for the taking. You have to go out and do it. That it's there, it's in grasp. You can go through, and whatever you do, it's good. You can't fail with this card unless you don't do it. If you don't go through the door, you don't try it. If you want to try the online, whatever you're going to try, it will work, and it'll work for you. It will not work if you sit on your butt and do nothing.
It sounds like she can grow both at the same time.
And be very, yes, you can do both and be very successful in both.
She says I'm always more comfortable hiding. That doesn't mean I should hide.
Right. It sounds like you hit it right
Yeah,
on the head. Sherry likes to hide, and you're telling her no step. The cards and you are telling her no step up and step out.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Be
that's the way
proactive.
you'll succeed. And you'll have great. I mean, this is a big success card.
Excellent. So the
Rose
next one, yeah.
Hammersmith. She's wanting to know what the time frame is for a remote job.
Okay.
And I'm looking through the questions as well. Heather has one.
It's all on
Diane.
strategy. So it's
Hold the card
depending.
up a little. Can you hold the card up again and hold it still in front of your face, and then push it
Yeah.
towards the camera a little bit? There you go. Up a little
Ooh.
higher. Higher.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
you go. And back out just a little. Okay, cool. We can see a lot of detail that way. Right
Okay.
there is perfect. All right, so I'm sorry. Now do what you want to do, please.
All right, for the time, this is a card for strategy. Plan your moves. Keep a journal. Plan what you want to do. Give an outline for what you want to do. That'll speed up the process. If
So
you
she
go
can
through,
create the time frame for a remote
create your
job.
own time. If you just go head first, like, jump off the cliff, well, it may take a long time. But once you prepare yourself and prepare what you're planning to do, it can be very quickly.
It can happen when you can
Strategize.
Yeah.
strategize. Oh, that's a good
And we're
word.
talking, this is like within months of a time
Okay,
period that you can do this. So,
very
but
cool.
do the work, prepare yourself, and it'll go smoothly. If you don't,
Thank you. If you
Yeah.
don't, it won't happen that way.
it
Yeah.
won't happen. Right. It can happen. It just may take a very long time and lots of frustration.
Ugh, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So clean the cards for the next person, please.
Okay.
And Iris, I see Heather Hilton
Yeah.
Heather has a question.
What do I need to know right now?
Okay. That's jumping out at me.
We saw the card flip up and out.
Oh.
Slide to the side. That is really pretty. Woman holding a coin. She looks very
Right.
Elizabethan Victorian. She's got a black cat and an Asian I Ching
Right.
coin. And she's
Right.
very Caucasian. Yeah. All
And
right.
woman holding a coin is a card where she is, and if you also look, it's the pentacle from the tarot is what she's
Mm-hmm.
holding, or for the Chinese coins that you use for I Ching,
Yeah.
I Ching, and it's possession. It's I. You got to ask me. Give me the question. Oh, what to work on today?
Heather
What to work on is
Heather says, what do
focusing
I need to know
to know today
to
is
know
to
right now?
work on. Let me double check the mantra on this one because all right, this one is to work on finances,
Yeah.
your financial state, and that's what the coin is. I'm not sure what your financial state is, but knowing what's going on in the world,
Anybody can
yeah,
focus on finances and improving it. Anybody can. Yeah.
right. But sometimes you're either holding on too tight to money and you're denying some pleasures, or your pleasures are going so far that your money's just going through your fingers. So I don't know which one, you know which one, but it's to sit down and really look at your finances and what's going on. And that's what you need to work on right now so
Very
that
cool.
you don't run out of money, but you want to have some pleasures, maybe a balance sheet. Sit down and look at what's coming in and what's going out and what do you need, what don't you need. And then you can even splurge because you can still look at it and say, oh, I got a little extra. I think I'll do splurge here.
Yeah.
But keep it more formal right now in your life because it's very important right now in your life, the finances. It may not be in 6 months, things may change, but right now work on your finances.
By the way, guys, everybody that's hearing these readings for other people, there's a little bit of information in here for you too. That's why you're here now in the show, listening to that particular message. It may be aimed at someone else, but it's also for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just FYI. So the next question, Iris, is from Diana.
Diana Culberson says, thank you. What is driving my anger, irritability, and negativity?
Okay. Give me 1 second, please.
Diana, and she has a beautiful tiger face for her.
Lion.
Buh. Different dimension. So sorry.
It's a feline. Yeah.
It's one of the cat species. Beautiful lion face. Yeah. What is driving my anger, irritability, and negativity?
Oh, this is interesting. You are holding on. You're locking up your intuition. Intuitiveness it's blocked. It's locked up. I don't know if if you're doing it yourself unknowingly, knowingly, and that's what's getting your anger, is because you're not feeling it, you're not open to it, and you're frustrated and you're angry. And so you got to go do some meditation. Go in and lay down and open up and say, and do a mantra.
Crystals,
smudge. Yes.
Yeah.
So that you can open up your intuitiveness, because right now it's blocked, and that's what's making you angry.
Thank you. Wow. Shuffle those cards again, because we got another question coming. Jody Young.
I'm looking to change my profession.
Jody is looking to change her profession. What insights do we have for that?
The Magician in the Mirror.
Holy crap. What is that? Interpret that one. That's beautiful, but say that one. Those are really cool cards. I really like those too.
This one, I looking at it, would say you have to be a little careful.
Isn't that a trickery card? Or subterfuge?
Yes, because something may look better than what it really is.
Okay.
And so really, if you're looking at, if you feel like, you need to change your job, look at
revisit.
What about your job don't you like? Because there'll be jobs out there that you can go to, but it's like the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, is what this card is telling you. That re-examine what you have, and then what are your goals of your life, or where do you see yourself going. Then you can change once you know that. If you're just feeling, I'm frustrated, I don't like my boss, I don't like the,
Because she's wanting to change her career, not just
her profession. But what do you not like about your profession? And then
it could be somebody in your job that why you don't.
In other words, the current profession you're on isn't finished yet. You're not seeing everything. The tricks and mirrors are happening.
Yeah. Or go to your bosses and say, I need to expand, or I need to try something new, and talk to them, because you're not seeing it. There's smoking mirrors around. You're not seeing who you are.
The whole picture. Clearly. Yeah.
And once you do that, then you can go ahead and change to a career. But find out what in this career. I mean, if you just truly hate the job and it's just a job, go ahead and change your career. But then look at the different careers. What do you want to do?
She says, I love my profession. I'm looking more something after. Which I'm thinking what she
means. There's still a subterfuge going on. There's still a tricks and smoke and mirrors and something going on.
Right.
The current profession you're in is not finished yet, even though you feel, and yes, you're looking for something after that. We get that. So it looks like Mary, if you, I'm jumping in and I apologize.
So that's okay.
It looks like she might be aware that her profession is not wrapped up yet because she's trying to look beyond that.
Right.
But that doesn't change the fact that you're pointing out there's there's a deception going on somewhere.
Well, and I think also, I know in Jody's case, there's other factors going on that it's not just the job, but it's where the job is and other things that are going
That
on.
influence it, yes.
Yeah, in other words, she might be interested in going to another part of the country, and that's going to put kinks in doing the job she's doing. And so, yeah, she does have a lot of smoke and mirrors going on because she's not quite sure what direction to go in and where to. And I don't think it's the job that needs the focus. It's something else that needs the focus.
She needs to focus on her
what's going to make her happy.
Yes.
Stop looking at your profession, Jody. You need to look at yourself.
And then look carefully at the different careers that you have access to, because not all of them are shiny gold. A lot of them are fake. So, look at the different things, or even take a class here and there, take a class here to find out, what do I like to do? What do I want to do?
Analyze, look behind the curtain.
Right.
Look behind the initial face.
There's a lot of falseness out there for you right now.
And Jody, just on a side note, I can do some testing with you to see what your interests and personality and all that stuff lead you into as well.
She's got.
I don't want you to waste your time on something that's not going to pan out for you.
Absolutely. Heather said, "Thank you so much. Exactly what I'm currently working on," for her reading a few minutes ago. Edie has a question. Let's go ahead and clear your cards again, because here comes Edie. Iris, do you want to read that for Mary?
She's wondering if surgery can improve my mobility.
This card just sticking out.
Oh. The cards are volunteering themselves.
Yeah, sometimes if they stick out, it's telling me pull it. Or if a card drops on the floor.
The sun card. Lady in a bird bath with flowers and a giant sun over her head. Tiny lady in a bird bath with flowers. Cleansing, yeah. Feminine, divine with the sun, masculine, that's a yin yang. Sorry. We're intuitives too. This stuff sets us off.
It's fascinating. You got very beautiful cards that not only speak to you, they scream.
Right. This one is...
You guys are doing a good job of asking open-ended questions, by the way. You're doing a really good job.
You have other opportunities before the surgery to try other avenues. You're because that's what the sun is saying, is that be creative or get into something very creative. Don't fall into the trap of you have to have this done and it's the only thing that's going to work. Because
she has more options.
You have more options than you're even aware of. I would try different other types of healers, energy healers, acupunctures.
That's what came to mind. That's what I heard. Acupuncture. That's what I heard.
Reiki. I mean, both of us are Reiki.
She's Reiki. Edie is Reiki Master. Yeah.
And do some of these other energy things before you go into the surgery, because, as we all know, surgeries don't always fix the problem. But if you're going into, all these other alternatives, it might make the surgery be successful later down the line. You want to make sure that you're going to be successful, whatever you choose to do. But I would try some of the alternatives before you jump in and say, okay, I'm doing the surgery and it's going to be fixed. Because you still know you got to recover and you got to do all the recovery and all that stuff too. So it's a lot of work involved after the surgery, but you want to make sure you try everything first. And that's what the sun is telling you, is look up, be creative, be loving, open up your heart, open up your mind, let those come in and then make your decision what you want to do.
Absolutely. So 2 questions have slid by. One, people want to know the name of the deck you're using. It's speaking to a lot of people. It's really pretty.
Oh, it's called Energy. Let me get
Hold it in front of you. There you go. Energy Oracle cards, and then
by
somebody Taylor.
Sandra Ann Taylor.
Your fingers in front of Sandra's name. There you go.
Oh.
Sandra Ann Taylor, Energy Oracle Cards
Yeah.
Guidebook.
I really like these a lot.
Yeah. Where'd you find them? How'd you find them? Friend? Shopping online?
Liz?
You went to?
I think Liz
Brought them to you? A friend brought them to you?
Yeah, someone had showed them to me, and I think it was Liz, a friend,
Yeah.
and I just loved them, and they just spoke to me, and in my hands they were just singing, and so I thought, I gotta have these cards.
Yeah.
They sing.
And Jody says that, thank you, that what you talked about sounded good. Diane said she wasn't able to see the card that came up. Can you re-show it? I don't even remember which Diane.
She said, what's driving my anger, irritability, and negativity?
But if you can't find the card, what you can do, Diane, is just rewind the show. After we close it out, you'll be able to go back and find it again.
Yeah, because I put the cards in and
shuffles them back in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember, and so it'd just be easier and less time consuming if she just.
Yeah, I'm when you're doing readings, you have a tendency to stay in this moment.
Go about 45 minutes.
Yeah, and once I put the card down, my brain
shifts into that gear. Yeah, absolutely.
And then Edie was saying that the screen froze. So Edie, I think she recapped nicely after you put that comment in there. But again, if you need
rewind
to go back
to the end of the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And that answered Diana's question too.
Also, I do want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're reading cards and you come up with a really negative, and I have never found it in the energy cards, the oracle cards, but in the rider cards, you can come up with some that you can almost see someone's death and demise.
You can see lots of negative stuff. Yeah.
Right. I do not tell someone that they're going to die. I'm sorry, I won't do that.
That's free will. It's not guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't want them fretting. So I usually tell them to, enjoy their life. Live
diplomatically.
Right.
Yeah.
All I can think about is, guys, girl, you in trouble.
Girl, you in trouble.
I usually just say the cards are not cooperating today.
Now you
Oh God! Now everybody knows your code word for I'm gonna die.
So that way, it's only came up once, but when I've had some, if it's a negative, I've read negative cards and say, oh, you're gonna lose your job, or this is gonna happen, you're gonna get arrested. I've read those. I just don't read if it's.
Did the person die?
Yes.
Do you know? Oh,
yes.
Wow. How soon after?
8 months, 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I've read people were dying. Yeah. When looking at them, they were blinding me. She just kept, it was like looking at a light bulb, and the more I looked at her, the brighter it got. And I finally just went, guys, I can't even look at her. Sweetie, are you dying? And she smiled, and her friend beside her put her arm around her and said, yes, she is. And she started smiling and crying, and her friend put her arm around her and said, yes, she is, and that's why we brought her here tonight. She's in the final stage of cancer, and we were, this was on her bucket list, was to hear you present. And I'm like, oh. I was like, well, sweetie, you're going to have a really good time where you're going, because you're blinding me. You're so freaking bright. You're busting out of your body. So
mine was an 18.
But in that situation, it was a closed environment. So
mine was a 17-year-old girl who was just having the best time of her life. She wasn't sick. She was in an accident. And
you told her to live every minute.
That's what I did.
You gave her a shot at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's having fun shooting out the lights on the other side too.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Awesome. So any final advice for new readers, Mary? Any bits of wisdom or recap or anything you want to emphasize for people who are starting out?
Don't take yourself too seriously. Enjoy what you do. Um, Again, it's not life and death. You're not gonna, it's not gonna hurt anybody. I mean, you can tell people negative things because you're showing them how to improve at the same time.
Yeah, what to
I
avoid.
mean, right. I mean, the death, I couldn't say, well, do this instead, because I couldn't see how she was going to die to change that. But I gave her good advice to go and enjoy herself. And even with the negative, if someone's going to get arrested or someone's going to get, I'd go change your avenue of what you're doing so that a positive will come out of it. That you don't have to look at the cards, if it's a negative reading to be negative. You can turn, it's a negative and you can say it's negative, but you can do this and it can change
It's
it.
still a teaching.
Right, because
Yeah.
we have freedom of choice, we have freedom of will, and we can change whatever path we're on, we can do something different. These cards are just giving us ideas of what's going to happen in our life on the path we're at. And if we want to change our path, this is what we should do to change it to positive.
Very cool.
Rose said, life is an adventure. Enjoy the ride.
Right. I look at it as the journey.
Yes,
Good one, Rose.
exactly. Yeah, it's not the destination. It's what you do along the journey. So
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. This was fun.
Yeah, oh, so glad.
was
We might have
fun.
we need to have you come
Time
back
went too
again.
fast.
It does. An hour flies especially when you got good stuff going on.
I'm saying we'll invite you back and just let you do straight readings on one
Oh,
one
that'd
of
be
our
good.
reading. We do once a month. We do free readings, psychic readings for people. So, we have a guest. We
I'd
might
love
have
to.
a guest
Yeah,
reader. Would that work?
that
Yeah, I
works
think
for
Yeah.
me.
yeah, that'd be
That'd
fun.
be fun. Yeah, if you're willing to do that, we'd love to have you. So with that, I think we're gonna wrap up here and good night to everyone and thank you for joining us and we'll be back. Oh, let me real quick before I forget. Next week I'm gonna put this up. We are September 20th and we're gonna be on the red, orange,
Third
yellow, third
chakra.
leg of our, third chakra, yellow. And we've done the other two, so you can go back and look at in August and in July when we did the red and orange. And then on September 27th, the healthcare hustle, we're going to be talking about the state of healthcare and the business behind healthcare
And
and
how
the
it
things.
got that way.
Yeah, so we're hitting a rabbit
Rockefeller
hole.
style. We're going to go down a rabbit hole. Stick around for that one, y'all.
Yes, exactly. So
Seatbelt.
all right, so we'll see you. We're on every Wednesday at 9:30, and the shows are recorded for you to watch again or
And
to
review.
share with people. Please, bring your friends, and we'd love seeing y'all. So thank you so much,
Mary. Thank you once again, sweetheart. Namaste.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Namaste.
Oh, namaste. Thank you, Iris. Thank you.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details at www.facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo. Show is copyrighted 2022 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. All rights reserved.